You're listening to the Parts Pros podcast, the only podcast made specifically for automotive parts professionals. We're here to dive into industry trends, expert strategies, and real-world solutions to drive success and boost your parts for a bottom line. Hi, I'm your host. I'm Amanda Poe, an automotive marketing expert with more than a decade of experience drive growth in the ever-evolving digital landscape. I am accompanied today by two guests, the first of which is Emily. Emily is here from our official sponsor, RevolutionParts, and she has more than 5 years of experience writing content and working with aftermarkets and OEM parts professionals. Hi, Emily.
Hi, Amanda. It's a great day for another podcast episode, and I'm excited to have our first Canadian guest today.
I am too. Our first Canadian guest, Mr. Kelly Marsden from River City Ford in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Don't ask me to spell that because I will spell it wrong. Kelly, welcome. He has some great tips to share with our parts professionals from all over the continent, not just in Canada. Kelly got started in this industry in 2000, and since joining the automotive profession, he's worked in virtually every department in the dealership. He even started the way so many others do, as a porter driving the dealership shuttle. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm excited to be here today.
Yeah, absolutely. Will you share with us a little bit more about your background, your experience, who you are, and who your dealership is?
Yeah, I mean, you touched on I started when I moved to the city right after I graduated high school. Just through my resume at a few dealerships, got hired on to drive a bus, they called it at the beginning. I didn't know what bus meant, but it was the shuttle. I was new to the city. It was fantastic. It was no better way to learn the streets, I'll tell you that. Customers were great, taught me everything. I got to know my city really fast. And then, yeah, it just evolved from there. After shuttle, not even, I think, a year in, I started doing the warranty administration for the service department, cashier in the service department, worked my way to the parts, kind of became, I wasn't even a car guy at the time, honestly. Bought my first car there and started to get into the performance and accessory side of things. Parts team brought me on there, and I did that pretty much ever since, worked my way up, left that store to go work for another bigger group, as most people do. Ran a kind of a performance store for a group, standalone building. Enjoyed that. Had an opportunity, left the industry to go do my own thing in the restaurant, nightclub, bar industry. Run my own place. And then, like Emily alluded to earlier, you always come back somehow, right? So you can try to leave, but they get you back in. And then, yeah, this group here at River City Ford reached out to me. I knew a few people here that I dealt with in the past, and they were really amped to get me on board. And it was, yeah. No looking back after that, so here we are.
That's funny. Kelly, I also have a mix of automotive and restaurant bar experience. So, Kelly, congratulations on winning the Revolution Parts E-commerce Excellence Award this year. This award is earned by the dealership that exemplifies parts e-commerce best practices, and your operation was a no-brainer for this. What do you think sets your parts department apart to get an award like this?
Yeah, no, thank you, first of all. It was awesome to get that award. I made sure that the team understood the weight of that. Being, we're in a very small city in the smallest province in Canada. It was a big thing for us, right? Just shipping out globally, it meant a lot. So, but yeah, I think to get to there, just having a team that really fully bought in, and I think that started from the leadership at the top, taking this seriously. Just and hiring the right people to obviously operate the e-commerce channels as we grew. But not only is everyone brought into the processes, but I think they understand there's so much potential. And it's really on us to set that bar, how high that limit can be. However, every time we reach that limit, it seems like we're just finding another way to raise the bar over and over again. So I think that award, the way I'm understanding what that award is, definitely aligns with what we're doing there. I think it's just every day it's exciting that, we're doing something the majority of most dealerships don't do. It's different. It's fun. It's new every day, talking to the customers, hearing the stories. It just gives us motivation and something else to work towards every day, right? It gives us a reason to want to come to work and succeed.
Very well put. Yeah, I remember the last time we spoke, you told me the story about how you told your team about the award, and I just found it so inspiring. Would you be willing to, just retell that story really quick?
Yeah, no, when we were originally told about it, and I sad that we weren't there to receive it in person, and I think it's New Orleans. But they mentioned what it was, and so I had my team I didn't tell them about it at first. I just said, hey, can you guys do me a favor and try to figure out how many dealerships there are in general, all brands between Canada and the US, right? And then give me kind of a figure if they can do some research, how many stores you think are online selling parts, right? So they kind of have a bigger picture idea of how many are in this running. And then once they got all those numbers the next day, I kind of questioned, like, what did you guys find? And I said, okay, just so you guys know, like, you won this award. So you see all those numbers, you see all those deals, proud that this small team in this room right here deserved this award, and we got that, right? So I think it kind of give it more weight, like I said. But
That's really awesome. And I also want to congratulate you on winning that award. That sounds like it was a well-deserved win. I want to switch gears a little bit and ask you a quick question about a special initiative that you guys have set up. And from what I've heard, there's several. But on this particular one, you guys are working with fleet companies to uplift their vehicles using a mix of both aftermarket and OEM parts. Can you first explain what uplifting is for me? And then after that, can you tell us how you launched this program and how other parts professionals not in your area can get in on this particular initiative?
yeah, so upfitting, or some people call it outfitting. I mean, no right or wrong answer there, but essentially what that is and where I saw the need is Um, after a vehicle like leaves the factory, OEM dealer, they ship it off the line, they ship it to the dealership. It doesn't matter. The most common thing you'll see is a chassis cap. So a truck will land, no box, do anything. It'll get sent to an upfitter to get a deck put on it, a box. It could be a boom. There could be anything. And people think of upfitting as generally that stuff. And most dealerships, well, we don't do that's pretty major work. We don't touch that stuff, right? And where I just wanted to start was, well, what about, the back racks, the beacons, like the lights, seat covers, running boards? Like there's a lot of little things they do, box liners, all the simple stuff, right? Like where I saw is, fleet company will order 50 vehicles, and every brand does this. Fleet company will order 50 vehicles. The vehicles will arrive. We'll say, okay, here's your 50 keys. You're off and running. Oh, well, we got to send these out. We got to get them upfitted and do this and do that. $5,000 to $10,000, sometimes $25,000 worth of work per unit. And again, it'd be like, okay, well, cool. Anyways, here's your keys. And it was like, no, we have to stop this. What do they need? Let me figure this out. Even if we have to start by subletting this work out and then reverse engineer it. Let's get it so the customer orders the vehicle and picks it up from us with the keys, but complete it. Everything they wanted to have at the end is just done, right? So let's just start with that, because all these other small shops around the city are kind of all eating our lunch as dealers. So working, I think, really close with our fleet team and having a fleet team that understood that and wanted to keep their revenue in the dealership. I think that a lot of stores might struggle because there is always a disconnect between sales to service to parts, right? It's almost like us versus them. But having a dealership that's thinking, no, how can we all make this together, and how can we supply that end product final to the customer, which was the biggest difference maker there. So working with the fleet team, understanding what the customer needs, getting in front of the customers, to then introducing you to the fleet companies, understanding their needs and saying, like I said, if I have to send it out, I'll send it out to start. But I think we can do a lot of this in-house. Second step was probably one of the bigger challenges, technicians. Do you have a shop that has the aptitude to install complex wiring, aftermarket parts, accessories, and are they willing to do it, not being grumpy, not being negative, not wanting 8 hours to do something that only takes 1 hour? Understanding this is long-term work. And I think that last part of long-term work, I should say retention, was the biggest selling feature for the dealership. So one thing we realized was if we let them go somewhere else and do this upfitting, we may never see them again. That upfitter might have a connection with a garage that does oil changes, services, maintenance, and all that. You don't want to let them look anywhere else, right? So I think getting the technicians to buy in that too, and realizing if you do this work, and we got to stay competitive. It is tough for a dealership with our door rate and our market that we need as dealerships to compete with a small shop in a tiny little industrial area. We just got to be competitive. I've always told my fleet companies, listen, I'm not going to be the cheapest, but I'll sell you on the value, and I'll tell you why we do it for this price. Because we have to meet a certain quality standard, right? Like I don't want that coming back. That's our name on that. Ultimately, that's the dealership's name on it, right? So we're going to do it this way. But they started to realize, listen, the value's there. It's certified technicians. I don't have to have people pick up vehicles, drive around the city to 12 different spots to get all this stuff done. I can just leave it with one place. There's total value there. I think it's just even me understanding my back history. Invoicing was a big thing for they could go to a small shop and yeah, it's cheap, but they're having to send it back because they didn't install something right, or they're having to ask for 6 copies of the invoice because they keep messing up the invoice and not folding to the original quote. So understanding even those little things make a big difference for them. Like, you got to sell that value in it, right? And you got to take the time. Yeah, and then it grew to the point where some of these fleet companies were asking me, well, could you do Chevys? Can you do Dodges? And yeah, a truck's a truck, like, send it, right? So I think there was the one funny moment at one point, people were coming to me going, what's going on? Why are all these trucks here? I'm like, yeah, I got to move them. I had more Rams here on our lot than the Ram dealership did down the street. Because again, it was one of those things where they just, yeah, here's your 50 keys or 100 keys, go somewhere else, right? So I was like, no, send it to us. So yeah, that was kind of the aha moment where we went, okay, we need to grow this. So we even just recently got a secondary building off site where we have a secured compound for about 150 vehicles. All of our vehicles land there now. It's kind of our PDI upfitting center. So all our PDIs are done there now. And then I have all my upfitting happening out there as well too. So when the vehicles do land, I've already pre-sold all this upfitting to those fleet customers ahead of time, knowing that they can just, again, pick up their keys and everything's done. So we're doing it all out there. We also did build in a spray and box signer booth into that building as well too. So we're preloading all our vehicles with box signers. Any customers that need that additionally on any of their vehicles that aren't from us, we can do that as well out there. So, and there's still lots more to grow with it. I mean, we want to build on more services as we go along, but got to start somewhere, right? So
That's really awesome and a really great opportunity. I can't imagine before this, there were a whole lot of $10, $15, $20,000 individual sales happening out of the parts department. And now it seems like you're getting a lot of them.
yeah, now it's pretty. It's just, I think every dealership, minimum once a month will do that custom build to have a fancy truck on the lot. Are these trucks fancy and glamorous? No, they're fleet, but at the same time, they're bare minimum 5,000, sometimes up to probably an average of $10,000 a unit. That again, you're keeping that revenue inside the dealership, right? So it's a massive pickup.
I'm so glad you called out customer service too, Kelly. I always say it's one of the greatest levers for parts department growth, especially since historically it hasn't been, an overused tool in that area of the dealership. And I mean, you've actually leveraged it to the point of creating a whole new service from your parts department and bringing more hours into your service department. So, I mean, that's just really cool.
Yeah, I think it's it's just observing the pain points, and I think I'm fortunate to have the experience and then the years under my belt already. But over those years, and I've worked at multiple brands, multiple dealerships, multiple groups, but it's always the same pain points. It's always the same problems. It's the same stories over and over again, right? So where I think I've grown my success, not only with the upfitting and even e-commerce as well, but everything else, is just don't do what the other stores are doing. Like, you just observe and you watch. And even started with my counter when I first started, just watching what we do and going, no, that's not what the customer's asking, or that's not what they're wanting, right? Just be different. If you're different, they have a pretty respect for you and they go, okay, that's a fresh place. I'm going to tell everybody else about that. They're not doing it the cookie cutter way that everybody else is doing. They're thinking outside the box. Are they explaining in a way that's not their lingo in their industry? There's just so many things that and we're still doing it every day. We're learning and we're growing. We find things. We call it out on each other, right? Like, hey, we've been saying this for years this way. I don't think the customer understands what we're trying to do. We understand, but they don't understand. Simplify it. Just simplify everything for them. I think one of the things I saw even with Service Advisor as well is we have this attitude that when people come in, sometimes they should know everything we should know. So when we talk about things, it's kind of like, man, why is that customer such an idiot? And I hate to say that about my own store, but everybody does it, right? They're like, oh, did you hear what that customer said? And it's like, guys, they don't know what they're talking about and they don't care. Like, you've got to understand that customer comes in, they're a teacher, they're a dentist, whatever it is. If you even ask them what their car's like, I don't know, it's blue, it's out there, it's having a problem, can you just fix it? Right? That's all they care about. Just fix it. Call me when it's done. I have my kids got to go to school. I better do this. I got to get out of here. Right? Don't worry about it. Just don't complicate things for them. Just simplify it, do what they need to do, and move on. Right? I think that sometimes we overcomplicate a lot of things. And just, yeah, you got to humanize it.
I can only imagine what the Volkswagen dealership was saying when I brought my Jetta in, and it was smoking under the hood back in college. And I remember I kept driving it. I didn't even pull over to begin with, but that's probably because I was an idiot in college.
I once drove my Jeep to the dealership with a broken front axle, so I understand. It happens.
Yeah. And you just got to realize, like, listen, your life isn't revolving around your car. That's just a mode of transportation for you. It's not your lifestyle. It is for us. I think we get caught up in that sometimes, right? Like, we know everything and we should know everything. But to that customer, it's just a vehicle to transport their life around, right? All they want to know is you're the pros, take care of this. Don't belittle them. Don't make it complicated. Just get it done, right? So just trying to go back and simplify things.
I know there's something wrong. I know I can't fix it. I'm bringing it to the people who I know can. Don't make fun of me because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, and that's all it is, right? I had this conversation with somebody else. I questioned them about oil changes. It was almost like, and I don't know how it is in the US, but there's always this perception that the dealership charges like 10 times more than everywhere else. So I always wonder, like, why are all these people at these, quick lube oil change places? Like, I just don't get it, because when you leave there, it ends up being, again, different markets here, $150 to $200 for an oil change. And that's astronomical to me, where I know the dealership, like most dealerships, you get a certified tech, you got people that know your vehicle, and they're going to charge you starting around $100, right? So, like, why would you go somewhere else? And I asked somebody one time as an outsider, I said, give me your opinion. And he had a really good example of his wife's experience at a dealership, and where she just felt like an idiot when she went there. And it was simply just that. Like, they didn't purposely probably do it, but they didn't realize what they were doing as a side effect of the way they were just, yeah, just go over there, just do this, just do that. Like, I don't know where I am right now. Can you help me out? Right. So then she never went back after that. She's like, I'd rather just go sit in my car and not get out and not feel like an idiot. Right. So those are always really great lessons learned. I share that with our quick lane team. And when they heard that too, they realized, like, I never thought of that. Right. I'm like, so when a customer comes in, don't talk, don't point, just say, oh, pull around here. If it's their first time here, go do everything for them and just say, but next time you come here, now we know what to do. Right. But don't just point and say things. They don't know, or they're really uncomfortable. Right. So
Good advice. So, Kelly, you've created a cool approach by working with other dealerships in your area. So, this is a two-part question. Can you describe how you do that? And talk about a little bit about how that collaboration has helped your business and why it's important for parts departments to work together.
yeah, no, that's a good question. I mean, since I started in the industry, especially when I started with the aftermarket shop that I worked for, Big Group, I was fortunate to have like a neutral building, I think. So I didn't really have a brand on my building that was a competitor, if that makes sense, to all the stores. I'm on one of those auto balls where there's like every brand you could think of dealership. But I think getting to know all of them and realizing, like, hey, instead of all being competitors, and I don't want to say enemies, I didn't feel that, but instead of being competitors, like, just work together. You have things that you offer that I don't, and I have things that I offer that you don't, right? So we can just kind of share this load. And I've always had that mindset at the beginning. I had aftermarket stores that I used to buy from that were my direct competitors. And I remember some of those stores that I dealt with, they didn't like each other. They wouldn't buy from each other or do business. But I did business with everybody. At the end of the day, is like, I don't care. Like, it's a small city. Everybody knows everybody. We know our market. If I even saw trends or things happening that I felt weren't right, I would share that with my competition so they didn't get caught in that loop either, right? So, and get possibly fraud or scammed or whatever might happen there. Um, but yeah, we all have our niches and things that we're really good at, and I think just working with each other really helped. So back into this side with the dealership, I saw some other dealerships that just aren't going to necessarily take the initiative that we might, or where we're at, and maybe it's because they're just focused on other things and they got more bigger priorities, things that they do really good that we don't do, and they're focused on that, right? So it's like, hey, I'm doing this, it's working for me. Can I help you with that? And what can I reciprocate? What can I give you that you can do for us, right? So yeah, I think it's just, again, not trying to look at anybody's competition, but we all have something we do really well, and then just share that with each other.
Well, I feel like that's also just a testament to your creativity. I feel like you've been talking about all of these ideas you've had and been successful at over the years in the parts department. And it truly is a bit of a inventive way of thinking to band together instead of just look at surrounding parts departments as a competition.
Yeah, no, it's so much more fun and comfortable when you just reach out to those other parts managers and talk to each other. You get to know each other. You've always hear about each other. You know you exist, but you never talk. And as soon as you do, it's like the biggest icebreaker in the world. And then there's some managers I didn't talk to for 5 years. I didn't know who they were. Once I reach out to them, it's like we talk every week or two. It could be even just quick, but we have that comfortability just talking to each other and trusting each other, right? So it's a huge game changer once you reach out to them. we're all the same. At the end of the day, we're all human. We just all think we're supposed to be enemies somehow for some reason.
Yeah, to your point, a truck is a truck.
Yeah.
It applies to all parts of life.
Yeah.
So, Kelly, I mean, you have an impressive track record. You're good at what you do. What's your best piece of advice for parts departments looking to grow?
Kind of like I said earlier, and I hate to say this because I was there, so I'm not trying to dig it towards other places, but just look at what other dealers are doing sometimes and go, yeah, don't do that, right? I think that's the best way to learn. Like just sitting back and watching them, like start with yourselves because internally, no one's perfect. You're gonna there's things you're gonna do wrong, or there's always things you can improve on. Like even when you think you fixed all the problems, there's probably 10 things you make even better now. Just keep improving on it, right? But I think just going to other stores, again, getting to know other dealerships, befriending them and working with them, seeing what they're doing and realizing how to answer the phones or how they're talking to you, things like that. You just learn a lot from that. And then you got to come back and share that with your team, right? I've seen things from other dealerships. I don't use the names of the places, but I go back and I talk to my team, realizing what I just saw and I didn't like that and that was uncomfortable, and realizing we do that too. Let's not do that, right? So then just correcting from there. But yeah, just hiring a good team around you. I said this once in a meeting. I said, I've learned to hire people that are smarter than me. It makes my life a lot easier and simpler, my job way more funner. But I think a lot of people are just scared to do that and get people. And listen, if someone comes in that's better than me and takes me over, totally fine, and they deserve it, right? But surround yourself with a good team, not people that just will be yes, 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 and do whatever. Like challenge me, have great ideas, and kind of go from there. So
That's a great mindset, and clearly it's served you well. Thanks for the advice.
no, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for being here today, Kelly. I think this has been really informative for everybody. I think really talking more about customer service and ways to do things differently from everybody else is really important in this industry. A lot of people are trying to copy their competitors or copy those that are successful, and they're not coming up with unique individual ways to be successful on their own. And I think the most impressive thing about you and your dealership is that y'all are doing things that I don't think anybody, or if anybody is, very few people are doing. So not only the upfitting, but also, developing partnerships with nearby dealerships is it's a fantastic business model and really great advice for our listeners.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right, guys, that's all for this Parts Pros episode. Thank you for tuning in. For more information on the Parts Pros and our official e-commerce sponsor, Revolution Parts, visit partsprospodcast.com. Be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, or wherever you catch your latest podcast, or again, on our website, partsprospodcast.com, so you don't miss our next episode. Thanks, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.